So welcome to the end of the 2038 season and welcome into this series of Build a Nation. Hopefully you are well. If you are new here and you stumbled across us at the end of the 2038 season, don't worry. You can catch up just from watching this video, or you can go back a couple of seasons to almost get a grip of the squad we have now and then come back to where we are. So hopefully you are going to enjoy. We are going to recap the 2038 season, and in the next video we will continue that new format of recapping our Champions League, Europa League, Europe Conference League journey in the next video, where we recap the 2037-38 European campaign. A little bit of an odd way to do it, but it's just due to the fact that the Norwegian league system doesn't run in parallel. That's the word? I think it is. In parallel to the European calendar. So, we're going to head over to the Football Manager screen. We're going to start by having a look at how we did in the Cup. Then we'll have a look at the first half of the league campaign. Then have a look at our summer transfers in and out. Then have a look at the end of the season. What I will say is it's been an interesting season when it comes to our squad. Because I would say this is the weakest point we've been at for a while.
This is just an intro, you better believe it. Jesus, that was bad. Well, welcome to the series.
Okay, so our cup campaign has not been fantastic. So we came up against Kolbu in the first round and got a 5-1 victory. Samare, Knudsen and Frostal on score sheet. We then beat Notodden 4-0. Dunsjak, Murder, Laho and Samare. We then knocked out Rosenborg on penalties, and you start to believe, you start to think, okay, we're looking solid. But we went out to Rufos in the fourth round on penalties, and we had a strong squad out. We did have a strong squad out, but we just disappoint ourselves at the minute, to be honest with you, and hopefully we can improve, but we're very inconsistent is how I would describe our cup campaign. We don't look dominating in any games. So we're looking here at our league fixtures up to the transfer window. And as you can see, we came up against Stabæk first 3-1, then we beat Bøder Glimt, then Molde. We then lost our first game in over a season, so obviously we went last year unbeaten and lost to Brann 2-1. But in March, April, May, good job me, we won 3 and drew 2 to bounce back from that defeat to Brann, and we were looking solid. We beat Sogndal in June as well, 2-0, before in July beating Viking and Vålerenga, before losing to Rosenborg, who were battling against relegation, and at this point we're bottom of the league, which is upsetting when you come up against bottom of the league and let them actually get a victory over you. So in the winter window in the last video, we didn't sign a single player over the winter period. So going into the summer, I did want to add some more depth. I was really focused on regenerating, rebuilding our strike force of players who didn't have that issue of big matches, and the fact that all of our strikers we had didn't like big matches. So going into this window, that was one of the biggest things I was looking at, was to redesign our strike force, bring in new players for the future, but hopefully who could step in now. So first off, looking at our outs then, Dovjak went to Cologne for 2.5 million plus 40% of next sale. So fingers crossed we do make a big bit of money on him long term, but he has left the club. You can see Rogda has gone for 5 million. He was complaining he wasn't getting football. He wasn't playing that much. He played 54 games for us in 4 seasons total, 35, 36, 37 and 38. So he was in now, but he wasn't a regular starter. And I said, if someone offers 5 million, we'll let you go. And Calgary actually came in and offered 5 million, plus 40% next sale. Daniel Athgott has left us. Now, this is a player who I was really torn to sell. He scored 5 in 8, capped by Norway now. But he had that big match as Con. And I just thought, you know what? Let's steer away from that with our strike force. Because I went through our whole squad, and it was only our strikers had that issue. Now, the next sale was one I really didn't want to make, but he was kicking up a massive fuss. Now, Sander Brunn has gone to Freiburg for bid ending at 7.25 plus 20% next sale. He was so good for us. 139 games he'd played in his 6 years at the club. And then you can see a couple of loan signings, then the big one. So Fionn Boyle, we've been rejecting bids all throughout the summer from various Premier League clubs, and then Wolverhampton came in, and we've actually made money on him, considering he was valued at 20 million, and he said he wanted to go, and I thought we were going to lose a lot of money on this kid. We've sold him for 44.5 million, plus, you can see here, 30% of his next sale. So you can see he's valued, at the minute, he is valued between 211 and 231 million. So if he was sold for 200 million, we will get another 60 million on top of that, on top of the 45 million we've already brought in. So the sale of Fionn Boyle could end up rising around 100 million, technically, which is absolutely insane and massive for us. Also quite big that we end up cutting 75k off our wage bill. So looking at our ins then, the first player we brought in is Svanesli. Emil. We're going to go with Emil. EM. So we signed him for 625k from Starbeck. He has potential, and he's not lacking the big matches. Pretty much all I've gone with at the minute. Next player for 2.5 million from Valerenga. Now this kid was playing in the B team. He's 21. I paid 2.5 million for him, but I paid for his mentals and physicals. I'm shocked he's not playing more football, because to me he looks like a really good workhorse. And the fact Valerenga's B team were using him and not the first team, I mean, I like him. And as a rotation option, I think he's a good player. I really do. The next player coming in is Alexander Fidlin. Now, we've been watching him for 3 seasons since he came through the intake, but we've just been unable to get him over the line. He's had no real interest in signing a full-time contract with us. But once he turned 18, they're always interested in at that point. And I really do think he could be a very, very good striker. Let me know what you think of him. But I think we've got ourselves a gem there. Now, the next player. You might say it was a waste of money. You might not. 7.25 million. He's labelled as a wonder kid. He is a right back. Now, bear in mind, we have Fossil players right back, so we don't really need new right back. But I've brought him in. I've retrained him, started to retrain him as a wide centre-back and as a central midfielder, ball-win midfielder, just to make him a bit more versatile, mainly due to the fact that he actually needs to be playing football. I think we can flip him for profit if we need to, but I just hope he can develop into something and fit in our squad somewhere. And the final signing is Thomas Bergvold, and this was a bit of a punt. There was a few clubs after him. I decided to try jump in and see how good he was going to be. Couldn't see all of his attributes at the time. We were in the middle of scouting him. So 18 years old, 1.8 million spent. If push comes to shove, we could move him on to another Norwegian club. But for now, we'll see how he develops. So back then to how we did for the rest of the season then. In August, we had an absolutely insane month, winning every single game. 4 games at home, 1 game away. In September, we won 1, drew 1, lost 1. In October, we won 2, drawn 4 games. And then in November, we won all 3. And then 3 victories in November did end up securing us our title for the 3rd season in a row. So finishing 6 points clear of second place, we were crowned champions for the 3rd season in a row. But I want to talk about where we are as a squad. So I've moved on a couple of strikers over the summer and Finn Boyle. Now after Finn Boyle left us, our central defender wonder kid, we really struggled second half of the season. Yes, we won the title. Yes, we've won it for the 3rd season in a row now. But I promise you, we were poor. Watching the games, it was very, very disappointing how bad we looked. Consistency of young players was an issue, a big issue. But mainly, we just didn't turn up in games. And going into the winter window, I think changes are going to need to be made. We need to bring in some high quality players if we're going to win the league again, but also if we're going to progress in Europe. Because this second half of the season's been really poor, and that gives you a sign of how we've done in Europe so far as well. But let's go back to the Football Manager screen and let's have a look at some of the stats, how we've done compared to other teams in our division, etc. So in terms of average possession, second again to Rosenborg. They really do like to dominate possession. They really do. So in terms of goals scored, fourth best with 57 goals scored. Stabæk with 63 was the best. If we go to defending wise, we did have the best defensive record. Only 23 goals conceded in 30 games. Really, really pleased with that. Again, another solid season defensively has secured us our title, to be honest. In terms of our youth team then, how did they do this season? They came in 5th place. 10 points off top. We did have the top goal scorer in the under 19s, but he's a player who I'm not a big fan of. I've sent him on loan to Holgersen now because he's just... I don't know. I still don't feel too confident that he's ever going to be the player we hoped he could be. So this season as a whole, our top goal scorer was Murda with 14 goals in 41 games. Samara did pick up 14 goals. And if we look here, he played 19 games from attacking midfield, scoring 7 and getting 2 assists. From strike, we started 14, scoring 7 with no assists. Actually had a better higher rating in attacking mid as a shadow striker as well. And if we go on the FM Stag, if we go to a goal scoring attacker, so headers 1 per 90 is getting 2.56, which is below average. Dribbles per 90, 1.39 is above average. Non-penalty XG of 0.51 is elite, which is nice. Shots on target 1.35, which is in between average and elite. And his conversion rate of 20% is just below average, and that's the issue. That conversion rate really needs to go up. In terms of assists, then top assist was Murda with 7, then Knudsen with 5, and also Fosdal and Fossum from our wing backs also on 5. But we really did struggle. There's a lot of changes need to be made to the team, in my opinion. We ended the season trying to libero here in this defensive central position and using Kevin Steens, our academy player, who's played 30 games, by the way, and he's only just turned 17. So I've got to be pleased with that, but there's some issues which I can't diagnose at the minute. I think we might need to spend. If I go on the finances, by the way, you can see we have 122 million in the bank. And we spend 143k on wages at the minute. Where's that at compared to the rest? So salary per annum compared to the rest of the teams in the league, we spend 6.74 million a season. Stabæk, Sogndal, Rosenborg, Odds and Vålerenga all are spending more than us. We're doing well financially. We are doing well financially. We lost 27 last year. We've made 48 this season. So I reckon we can probably spend about 20 million over the winter. And I think it's the time to spend that kind of money. I think we need to look at a couple of players to bring in. I guess my question is, who would you sign to improve the squad? Who would you sign to improve this squad? Maybe a central defender to replace Boyle. Maybe a new striker. Maybe attacking midfielder. But do we really need new attacking midfielder? Sorry, a striker when we've got Phil in, who's just come in. Only 3 goals in 13 games so far for us. But he just has potential, doesn't he? He just has a lot of potential. And if he can get scoring in the next couple of years, we could have him for 10 years and he could be an absolute goal machine. But if we have a look, see how the rest of Norway is done, then you can see HamKam made it in the playoffs. They do end up going down, I can confirm that. And Grorud and Lillestrøm also getting relegated. You can see Rosenborg survived by goal difference. If they went down to the second tier, that's the type of club I think I'd jump ship for, to take them back up and build a nation, build a couple of clubs in the nation. I don't know. So Mjøndalen and Kjelsås and this Tromsø come up with them going down. Vadhaugsund, Stjørdals Blink and Asse Coming up from the third tier, then it's going to be Hinnerfoss, Sandefjord, Lyn go down. Now, Lyn are one of the biggest clubs in the history of Norway. They have a massive stadium, 15,000 capacity. Really famous club. Going back down to the fourth tier. My days. Then from the second half of that, Junkeren, our feeder club, are going up, and we do have quite a few players to lend them for the season after. Sarpsborg into the playoffs, well, former top flight club. Going down, Tromsdalen and Fyllingsdalen going down, along with Stabæk's B team. Our B team still nowhere to be seen. Almost kind of dented the save in terms of enjoyment for me, that our B team has never become playable. And the cup we didn't look at, so let's just quickly see who won the cup for you guys. So if we do go to the cup, you can see it was won by Odds, beating Tromsø in the final. Second tier Tromsø making it to the final. So, but you can see it's such a very varied. Tromsø, Odds, Berder Glimt, Valerenga, us, Valerenga, Sogndal, and then Odds again there. It's very up and down, but you can also see, by the way, it's the 5th highest competition ranking competition, behind the Spanish, Italian, German, English cups. Fair play to them. I didn't think it would be ranked so highly. The Norwegian Cup is becoming famous. The new FA Cup, I'm telling you. I think one of the perfect graphs to show how the squad is at the minute is we have one player in the experience list, which is Sebastian Hansen. Samara is in his peak at 26 years old, and then emerging and development is where nearly all of our squad is. So it does show you that we really do need to improve massively. You can see here, in terms of goalkeepers, we have someone experienced, nobody in the peak. Central defenders, emerging defenders, libero. There's nobody in the peak at the minute. I mean, it's great that we have a lot of potential, without a shadow of a doubt. Going through a few of the players to end this episode then. Nesham, we've been rejecting 15 million from this year. He's going to be with us, hopefully, for the next 10 years, in my opinion. Gerlin is a strange one. We massively overpaid for him. 22 years old now, Austrian. We signed him in 2036. He's never going to get homegrown status due to how late he joined us age-wise. But mentally, he's very, very good in my opinion. If we go into what he's playing at, wide centre-back on defence, only the work rate lets him down. Apart from that, he's really, really good. Kevin Steens, we already looked at, came through the academy, is developing very nicely. And Amadou, who joined us 2034, it is behind my head, but he is eligible through us as the club where he trained at under the age of 21 for 3 years, which is nice. 116 caps now. Fosdal, who is our captain, he's 19, 87 league games, came through in 2035. Just, yeah. 0 caps for Norway, which I don't quite understand. And Onnerheim, who has 10 caps for Norway now, signed from Lillestrøm 2 years ago. Just wow. Fossum is just insane. With that perfectionist personality, it really helped him develop. 6 caps for Norway now, 21 years old. Been with us for a few years. This was his 3rd season. Made also in his 3rd season, 20 years old now. I think he's going to be eligible for us. He's done that. 234 days left before he gains that. Oh, so okay, that's okay. He's going to get that. Samare has been with us. This was his 9th full season at us. 204 league games, 114 goals. It's only that big matches con which lets him down. It lets him down when we need him. Marcel Sander, I mean, he is developing. He's 18 years old now. He did have a bit of an injury this year. If I go to his history in terms of injuries, you can see he broke his ankle and he was out for 4 months, and the ankle break was right at the start of the season, so it did cost us massively. I do want to say goodbye to Laho. He is leaving us after joining the club in 2032. He's going off to play for Auxerre in France, so we do wish him luck. We wish him the best. He's been a very solid professional. Joseph Wright is currently getting trained to play in defensive mid. So I've trained him as a centre-back. He can now play wide centre-back. He's now going to be able to play anchor in defensive mid. He's going to be a very versatile player for us in the long run. Really, really pleased with him. A couple of academy players to mention then. Mainseth is still only 16 years old. Blows my mind. Very, very talented player. Really do think he could develop really well. Darren Pierre. Now, I'm a couple of months ahead, so I'm going to tell you now, but in case I forget in the next video. He gets capped by Norway in a few weeks. In the January match, I think it is. Am I missing something? He looks really good, but he's not as good as Fossen, but he's not being capped by Norway. Now, I have retrained him as a wide centre-back, again, because I need more versatile players. I need players who can play all over the pitch. So we've been retraining him as a wide centre-back at the minute, and he's learning it really well, which is nice because he is dropping into play there when I need him. Another player I did want to quickly mention, where is he gone? Yeah, is Knudsen, who he's now got the media description of Wonder Kid. He's just not doing it for us. 5 goals in 33 games. He's 19 years old now, 2 caps for Norway. He needs to start stepping up. But that is it for the 2038 season. So I'm going to crack on. I'm almost at the point where I'm starting the 2039 season. At the point I've got free to record this. You'll see this type of thing is the reason that happens a lot. So I'm going to crack on with that. Hopefully I have a successful season. We've won the league 3 years in a row now. A lot of depth is needed over the winter with this squad, and that's what I'm going to crack on with now and try to sign them players before the season starts and add quality. I think a couple of starting 11 players, which takes a bit of the pressure off our youngsters, is needed, and I'm going to hopefully go and find them, because if I go to the FM screen to end the episode and go to scouting, recruitment focuses, we are busy. You can see we have an emergency one for defenders. Then we've got a massive list of different things going on at the minute. So we are busy. We are busy scouting and trying to find players. So let's see how that goes. I've been Paul, also known as Northman. Thank you for watching.